Hi everybody, this is Elizabeth from Petals and Parchment. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a tutorial of how to make this book Rolodex. This is another alternative for the Reflective Rolodex project. In my last and opening video, I showed you how to make this one using some elements from the kit, and I also gave you the idea to get started on this project, and this is what the cards would look like if you set them in this Rolodex. And I've selected a small book, so join me on this tutorial and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so as I mentioned before in the Rolodex opening video, I was going to get started on folding the pages of the book that I selected to make the Rolodex, and I've done that. I just continued in that fashion, and if you didn't see the beginning to that explanation, just watch the first video explaining the Rolodex challenge, and I'll link that down below for you. So here's what it looks like from the side. This is just every page folded in half in the entire book. Okay, so you've got that, and then you're going to need a pencil and a scoreboard and scoring tool. I actually found it most useful for one of the steps to have this embossing tool. And then you're going to want to print off 4 sheets from the kit, whichever ones you like. I used winter, spring, summer, and fall backing sheets. And you're going to need some file folder, some ink if you'd like to ink the edges, a pair of scissors, some glue of choice, and a ruler. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get some of this out of the way and talk to you about the Rolodex challenge. Again, if you haven't seen the opening video, go ahead and check that out. Basically, we're creating our own Rolodex, and then each week we'll do a single Rolodex card focusing on gratitude and mindfulness. Throughout the year, you'll have 52 cards at the end of it, and a really nice project to reflect on, and just cultivating some really nice things, I hope, is what I plan to do for that. So yeah, we would love for you to join us. There's already quite a few people that are very excited to participate, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. I can't wait to get started. So I went ahead and measured my book. Of course, depending on which book you choose, your measurements will be different, but I just measured the distance of the white part here across. So mine was 7 7/16 by 4 what is that, 11/16, somewhere in there. But like I said, yours is going to be a little bit different because you'll have a different book than I do. And then I cut out my paper and I inked it, and I did want a white edge all the way around. So as you can see here, there's a green cover, and then I'm leaving a little white border all the way around, and then I've inked, and then I'm gonna glue this down. And so this is the winter page, and then I also selected a spring page for the bottom of my Rolodex. So I'm just gonna glue these 2 bits here. Before I do that though, I'm going to show you how we get the side measurements. So in order to cover the side of the book, like so, you'll just turn the book on its side on top of a piece of either heavy-duty cardstock or manila file folder, and then you'll take your, let me zoom in a little bit here for you. You'll take your pencil and you'll simply trace the outline of the book pages, and then reach around the back and draw a straight line like so. and then you'll just cut that shape out, and it's like a fan kind of. So that's how I got that measurement. And then I just wrapped both sides, and I'll show you how to do that after we get the rest glued down. I'm getting really excited. January is coming very quickly, and I'm just going to use some Fabri-Tac so that the solvent-based glues, they don't crinkle the paper. I just like that. If you use a water-based glue, you run the risk of the paper developing wrinkles. So I use this Fabri-Tac for most things really, but especially for something that either adheres fabric to paper or something that I definitely want it to look its best and don't want any wrinkles on. So just stick that down and do the other side. This turned out so pretty, and I did like a purple, like a lavender Stampin' Up, I think it was lavender, lovely lavender, something like that, ink all the way around. It's been really exciting to hear all of your comments about the project and your excitement to join me on this adventure. I'm really looking forward to what's in store for all of us as we explore some of these concepts in 2025 together. So thank you for sharing in the excitement. Okay, so this is what my Rolodex will look like when it's all put together. And let's see, now I'm going to set that aside and show you how I got it covered fan shape, how I got the fan shape covered so nicely. So here's my piece, and it helps if you don't know where on the paper you want the decoration from. What I did was I held it up to the light and looked through it to see which portion I wanted and how that would look. So I found where I'm going to glue it down, so I'm just going to turn it over and try to keep it in this same spot. Maybe I'll mark it with a pencil here just so that I don't get it wrong. The paper's pretty, so pretty much wherever you stick it down should be all right. And then when we cut it out, we're going to leave kind of a large border around the entire thing so that we can fold it over so that you won't see the manila folder from the side when you look at the Rolodex. So I'm just going to cut this piece off and set it aside because we're going to need it for the other side as well. And then I'm just going to cut around here. Like I said, don't go too close, leaving a border all the way around. So then everywhere where there's a corner, I'm just going to miter that, like so. There's 2 here, so I'm just going to cut a kind of a triangle out right here, and another right here. And then I'll try to fold this down and see if I did it correctly. Okay. Can probably take a little bit more off there. There we go. And then one more mitered corner here, like so. And then this is where I found the embossing tool helpful. Oops. To create a score line, like so. And it looks like I need to take a little bit more off of this edge here. And then I'm going to score it here. And fold that over as well. Okay, and then the next step is to every so often take a little triangle out all the way down the length of this curved area. But the trick is you don't want to get too close to the edge of the manila folder with your triangle, because when you bend it over, then it will create a look of a point sort of everywhere where you made the cut. So try to stay a little bit further away from the edge, that way that doesn't happen like it did on my first one. So I made the mistake so you don't have to. How's that? Oops, see, I went too close on that one anyways. I'm gonna just try not to go so close. It's kind of hard. See, cutting little triangles out of the side here every so often, and you'll know if you don't have enough, you'll have to add more. And then you just fold it in on itself. And that's how you can follow the semicircle. And then we're just gonna glue all of those down. As you can see, on one of the spots I went a little bit too close, so I'm just gonna try to smooth that out. I'm going to release a new video on the Saturday every week. The first one being January 4th, so we'll get started on January 4th, so stay tuned for that. That will be the next video in this series. Okay, so now I'm just going to simply glue all these edges down. Starting with these two little ones here. And I did forget, it's helpful to have some clips. Sorry about that. You'll want to just, oops, glue these down and give them a chance to adhere by clipping them to the manila folder. And just continue all the way around. I picked up these clips at the Dollar Tree. I think 2 packs of them is probably enough for any project. Maybe 3, but I also have some binder clips in case I run out of these, and I also have some sewing clips, but these are my favorite because they have a smooth rubberized finish on the inside, so they don't crinkle or bend your papers really. So if you don't have those, I'd recommend it. It's a good investment and they last forever and they don't damage your papers when you're clipping them to hold the glue. I spoke too soon, I ran out. So I'm gonna clip this one with a binder clip here, which is my next choice. There we go, and I'm gonna allow this to dry and then I'll be right back. Okay, that should be enough time for it to have dried sufficiently to continue. So I'm just going to take all these clips off and we'll trace around this circle to get the inside covered. Alright, and I think I'll try to get this part here. So for this, I did the same thing. I just cut off the majority of it and then traced around it, except this time I went closely next to the edge, like so. Just continue around as close as you can. Another part I forgot to mention is that when I tested my shape in the corner of the book, this was pointy, and so I just snipped it off and it fit much better that way. So then I just use my trimmer to trim probably 1/4 of an inch off of each side, like so. I'm really just cutting off a very thin bit from each side, not too much. It's really best not to take too much. You can always cut more, but you can't get it back if you cut too much. And then I'll just snip that corner one more time. And that's pretty perfect for how I want it. So I'm going to glue that down. But first I'm going to ink my edges. I'm using, for the fall sheet, Stampin' Up! Blush Blossom. It's kind of an orangish pink color that I thought matched really well with the oranges in this design. You can probably see it better there. Just trying to cover up the white edges a little bit. And the same on this one. And we're just going to glue that down. I'm going to grab my crocodile. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my crocodile, and I've actually got the big bite and the handheld one. I'm going to use them both. I'm going to use the big bite to punch the holes in the book, and then I'm going to use the smaller handheld one to set the grommets. It's just easier for me. So I've decided that I want silver for my book, and I also selected some string that I want to use as well. This is sort of like a cord. It's kind of thick, and I had just enough for this project, and I think the light blue color will match really nicely. So I've got 2 lengths of cord for that. So now I'm just going to try to mark with a pencil where I want the holes to be. Okay, so then I'm just going to set to work here punching the holes with the big bite. I've got it set to the biggest hole punch. Okay, looks great. And I'm just going to continue all the way around. Great, we've got the 4 holes. So I'm going to get rid of the big bite. The problem with buying aftermarket grommets is that they don't fit as well as the We Are Memory Keepers, but the We Are Memory Keepers are quite expensive, so I got a bunch of aftermarket ones, but that means I generally have to make a second hole punch. Crocodile to widen the hole a little bit, and it wasn't too hard because the majority of it is already punched through. Okay. And I was able to set that one very successfully. I'm happy with that, and let's just make our way around. Not always easy, but the result is worth it. There we go. At last, I have success. I have 4 very beautifully placed grommets here, and so the next step is to attach the 2 sides together so that it sits upright. I'm going to tie it towards the back. Now here's a step where if you would like some beads, you can bead this before you attach it to the bottom here. Okay, and then we're going to continue by tying the cord through the bottom grommet, like so. You don't want to pull too tightly, but also don't want it to be too loose. You can use your corners for a reference as well, so if you pull it too tightly, they will no longer fit. Okay, and then I'm just gonna snip that there and tighten it on both ends and continue on this side. Okay, trim those, and now we're just going to glue these on the side here. Let's see. On this rounded edge, you'll want to leave about an inch from the edge with no glue, and then just press it against the book pages and hold it there for a second, and then turn it over and do the other side. So I'm putting my finger where I don't want any glue past that point, and I'll just use my finger as the edge and then come all the way to the bottom corner. You could use hot glue for this, or probably bookbinding glue, and then I'm just holding this against the book pages and pressing pretty firmly. I don't want to push so hard that I start bending things though. And there we have it. This is my completed Seasons book Rolodex, and I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you check out the kit on Ko-fi, and hopefully you'll decide to follow along on this adventure that we're going on. 52-week challenge, the Reflective Rolodex, a year-long project focused on gratitude and mindfulness. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.